Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Comics. Me. There are a lot of cheats. Xue Yu appears in the world of anime, each with different backgrounds, experiences, and cheats, but there is only one outcome. Each world will eventually change its ending, rewrite the lost youth, and ultimately become the god of anime. Original protagonist. Are you the protagonist? Or am I? Why are you cheating even more outrageous than me? Villain. Are you a villain? Or am I? I think you're crazy even when I make a statement. Xue Yu. I used to have no choice, but now I choose to stand in the sky. I come, I see, I conquer, and the world welcomes a new king. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Traverse, Curse Return. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did that Gojo be defeated by such a thing? Damn it, the author's head probably got kicked by a donkey. The invincible Gojo was killed by the plot like this. Speaking angrily, Xue Yu punched the table. After watching the latest spell battle, Xue Yu realized he was just a clown. Wu Jiao Wu has become 2.5 Jiao Wu, and even after his death, he still made such an incredible statement as, "It's really regrettable that Lord Suan Noa didn't do his best." Perhaps he was too angry, or maybe Xue Yu just punched the table and shook the computer that was already in disrepair. A flickering black and white screen appeared in front of Xue Yu, which was a bit dazzling. Xue Yu closed his eyes, and the subtitles were still clearly printed in his mind. A paragraph came to mind. Welcome to the Life Crossing Experience System. Please select the world. 1. Spell Battle, 2. Choose one. Before all the options were displayed, Xue Yu gave the answer. Xue Yu, who had years of experience in novels, knew what it was when he saw the two characters in this system. It seemed that he had hacked it, but unfortunately, he didn't like the ending of 2.5 Wujiao. So he still chose it himself. Even a fool knows how to choose it. The world selection is complete. Getting detailed information about the world. Data generation completed. Do you want to start talent extraction? Note. For the first draw, the system will give away random 3-star talents. Xue Yu looked at the realistic light curtain in front of him and finally realized his situation. He felt like he had just been impulsive. After all, he hadn't read the entire manga, and he was just a half-hearted person. However, this talent must be carefully selected. The uncertainty of the plot is too great for serialized comics like Spell Battle. Especially the author is a strange and unconventional player. It's too late to regret. Xue Yu can only grit his teeth and continue. 10 consecutive draws are over. Please choose 3 of the following 10 options as the talents for this simulation. Adversarial Enlightenment. At the age of 10, you will awaken the second technique. Curse power is truth. You possess unparalleled immense curse power. 10 years of sharpening a sword. You have a concentration that surpasses that of ordinary people. In this world, you have an extraordinary understanding and can accomplish anything you want to do. Peach blossoms continuously. Increased love opportunities. Noble bloodline. You were born into a privileged family. Old driver. You won't have a car accident. Albinism. You won't be shot. Only child. You have no brother or sisters. Buddhism. Increased chance of getting into Harvard University. Xue Yu looked at these 10 talents and fell into contemplation. Adversarial Intelligence. Curse Reuse, a 3-star talent, a first-time simulation gift, is the best of the 10 talents. Although it can only be used in the world of spells, throughout the world of novels, people with this talent have never seen anyone perform poorly. Curse Power is the truth, a 2-star talent, a guaranteed talent for 10 consecutive years. These 2 talents are mandatory. The remaining 8 are all 1-star talents. Considering this world with extraordinary powers, some talents are meaningless. Xue Yu's gaze ultimately focused on 3 talents. Noble Bloodline, 10-year sharpening of a sword, and a flash of spiritual light. If we seek stability, the noble bloodline is a more suitable talent, which can ensure a comfortable living environment after birth. 10 years of sharpening a sword and a flash of spiritual light, these two talents are helpful in improving combat power, and in the long run, the gain will be even greater. After all, the money and power that noble bloodline can provide do not have much significance in the worldview of spell battles. Not right. Xue Yu's eyes lit up, and suddenly he thought of some key information. It's not just about money and power. Under the worldview of spell battle, that emphasizes bloodline. The identity of noble bloodline implies noble bloodline, which has a probability of triggering greater gains. In the spell battle, most powerful spell masters have extraordinary ancestry. Among the 4 major super levels, Gojo Satoru and Yoshitaka are descendants of Shugahara Daoshin. Even the protagonist, Urin Tiger Wand, who lacks technique, currently has an extraordinary background. The probability of a sorcerer born into a privileged family awakening powerful spells is much higher than that of an ordinary person. If one's luck is good enough, the 1-star talent of noble bloodline can even unleash effects of 2 stars, or even 3 stars. Take a gamble. I choose to have supernatural understanding, curse power is truth, and noble bloodline. Talent selection completed. Simulation begins. The noble bloodline was launched, and you were born into a Zen family, one of the 3 royal families. Activate the phrase, curse power is truth, and you are born with unparalleled immense curse power. As lines of handwriting appeared before Xue Yu's eyes, he felt his soul leave reality and begin to experience a whole new life. 0 years old, you were born. Your mother passed away and you became an orphan. 1 year old, your immense curse power caught the attention of the Zen family. Your diet has improved. 2 years old, your curse power continues to grow. A senior executive from the Zen Academy came to see you and took you to a larger room. 3 years old, the high-level official who often comes to see you has died and was killed by a spell. You start to expect what kind of technique you will have. 4 years old, as time goes on, your curse power grows stronger and stronger. A senior member of the Zen Academy tells you that you will definitely awaken the 10 shadow spells, which are the oldest and most powerful spells in the Zen Academy. The entire Zen family has high hopes for you. With the passage of time, only your curse power is growing, and you have not awakened the 10 shadow spells, even though they do not feel the existence of any spells on you. Gradually, you are no longer valued and they no longer hold hope for you. A presence with only curse power but no spells is of no use to them. Moreover, due to the resources invested in you before, they often scold you. You have experienced all the warmth and coldness of human relationships at the Zen temple. At this time, the imperial 3 families. At night, thick clouds like ink block most of the moonlight, creating a secluded mansion in the Zen Academy. A 10-year-old boy on the corridor, dressed in a solid black robe, with his bare upper body faintly visible in the open collar, with dense and tangled scars. A head of black fine and short hair, even though the face may appear slightly immature, one can still see at a glance the handsome foundation second only to the readers. Xue Yu himself was also very puzzled. According to reason, he should have awakened 10 shadow spells, but he did not have them. Some only had the bottomless curse power, but Xue Yu knew that no matter how much curse power there was, it was useless. Just like how many bullets you had without a gun, you could not exert tremendous power. When you were 11 years old, fate favored you. Jiamao Xianluan, the Jiamao family, heard of you. A pitiful person with no magic power, he invited you to participate in his experiment. You had no right to refuse, so you joined Jiamao Xianluan's, or Sua's, plan. In the dark passage, Xue Yu instinctively tightened his tight kimono. He didn't want to come here, the passage ahead was very dark, as if leading to human purgatory. Rao, who has been constantly mocked and forged a strong mind in the Zen temple, also finds it difficult to resist the coldness in this passage. People in the world cannot help themselves. Xue Yu silently walked to the end of the passage and pushed open the huge stone door. Behind the door was a Buddhist temple full of Zen, but inside stood a strange figure. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Seeking Skin from a Tiger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon hearing the sound, the figure turned around and chuckled lightly, saying, "It's you." Upon hearing this hoarse voice and looking at the stitching on the man's forehead, Xue Yu's heart trembled and he quickly lowered his head, afraid to look around casually. Mr. Jiamao Xianluan. Can we say, brain teaser? Or, is it just a matter of time? As a traveler, Zen Temple Yu is his name in this world. At this moment, although he knows the identity of Jiamao Xianluan in front of him, he dare not reveal any thoughts. Jiamao Xianluan looked at Xue Yu thoughtfully for a long time before saying, "I'll give you this private laboratory, it's not in vain for you to assist me for so long." Feeling Jiamao Xianluan's gaze as if it were real, Xue Yu didn't have any wild thoughts and quickly bowed down to answer. "Mr. Jiamao Xianluan, please rest assured that I will be more cooperative with your experimental work in the future." Jiamao Xianluan averted his gaze and glanced slightly around the Buddhist temple, with a hint of mockery in his eyes. "I will be leaving the Jiamao family in the future. You can come up with your own solutions for the materials here." "Yes. Mr. Jiamao." Xue Yu first nodded in a proper manner and said yes without any hesitation. But the next second, Xue Yu suddenly looked up, as if he had thought of something, and widened his eyes to look at Jiamao Xianluan. "Mr. Jiamao, did you just say you were leaving Jiamao's house?" Located in one of the three imperial families, the Jiamao family, Jiamao Xianluan can also be considered the leader of the Jiamao family. Surprisingly, this leader wants to leave the Jiamao family. What exactly happened? Xue Yu's heart was full of doubts, but Jiamao Xianluan did not respond at all and disappeared in front of Xue Yu in a flash. With the departure of Jiamao Xianluan, the huge and terrifying curse power that filled the temple slowly dissipated. Xue Yu let out a long breath. Facing Jiamao Xianluan, whose body was occupied by a rope, he has been under a lot of pressure during this period. Recently, Jiamao Xianluan's aura has also become less and less like that of humans, exuding a foul odor. Even if he cooperates with Jiamao Xianluan in experiments from afar, he will feel very uncomfortable. However, fortunately, this inhuman life is finally coming to an end. For Xue Yu, Jiamao Xianluan's departure from the imperial family was also a kind of liberation for him. At least, the handle he held in Jiamao Xianluan's hand will not be known for the time being. However, upon second thought, Xue Yu felt a bit puzzled. Based on his vague memories before his journey, it seemed that Jiamao Xianluan had been discovered by the senior management of the Spell Master Association for this malicious 9-phase diagram experiment plan, and in the end, he had both stolen and stolen. That's why he chose to escape. However, why is it that the senior management of the Spell Master Association has not responded yet, and Suo is actually preparing to give up the position of the Jiamao family, as if he has already prepared to leave the Jiamao family? Where exactly is the problem? What is the reason that led to the early evacuation of the rope? Is it because of me? From being discovered by Suo himself to collaborating with him in experiments and creating the 9-phase diagram of the cursed fetus, Xue Yu never came up with a true reason. However, for him, the evacuation of Suo was ultimately a good thing. As for the exact reason, for Xue Yu, who is a little transparent, there is no significance worth exploring. Xue Yu's feelings for Gao Suo or Jiamao Xianluan are somewhat complex. If it weren't for Jiamao Xianluan's attention, Xue Yu, a failed person who failed to live up to the expectations of the Zen family, could not still be living in the world now. After all, the Zen family has extremely strict control over their bloodline. Although he only has a huge curse power and no awakening techniques, he has consumed so many resources of the Zen family and may become a tool to provide curse power for them. Even in the future, powerful tyrants like Fuhei Shi choose to sell their gifted child Heihui to the Zen family. Although Fuhei Shen heir is ostensibly for money, in reality, he is still trying to protect his child Hui. If it weren't for Wu Tiaowu's choice to intervene in the end, Fuhei Hui would likely become a brick and a tool of the Zen family. For Xue Yu, the only regret is that he has not yet mastered the technique. Whenever he encounters a spell, he may be killed. Living in this world, being weak is the original sin. Xue Yu still can't understand why he didn't have the awakening technique. Is it because when selecting rewards, he didn't choose the technique and only chose the curse power, so he wouldn't feel that the technique was too deceitful? It has been more than 10 years since Xue Yu traveled to this world, but even now, he still cannot adapt to this world of spells filled with spirits and murders. And he also wants to figure out the reason why he doesn't have the technique through Jiamao Xianluan. And this is also one of the reasons why he took the initiative to join Jiamao Xianluan after he was offered an olive branch by Jiamao Xianluan. Sometimes, does he really admire the wizards of this world? They often exhibit a talent for spells at a very young age. During my school years, I was already able to master spells, and eliminating spells was like a daily routine. Fortunately, he was born into a Zen family with noble lineage and was born with the opportunity to awaken 10 shadow spells. Although he has not yet awakened, he has a huge curse power, and once awakened, he becomes a top-notch powerhouse. So, it was only through this that he gained Lasso's favor and became Lasso's experimental assistant. However, for Xue Yu, he himself is not without some advantages. With the incredible insight he gained before crossing time, his comprehension ability far exceeds that of ordinary people. In addition, with the advantage of the Zen family's bloodline, he quickly became a capable assistant to Aso and cooperated with him to conduct many experiments. Until Jiamao Xianluan met the woman who could conceive a magical child. The experiment of the most evil sorcerer. The 9-phase diagram of the cursed child was successfully born with his help. Xue Yu knew that his behavior was very bad, but in order to survive, he could only become the surgical knife in the hand of Suo. The only thing he could do was to help the mother of the cursed fetus, Lizzie, with the collection. After all, as the bloodline of the Zen Academy family, he himself had already become a test subject for Aso and signed a contract with Aso to provide corresponding experimental data for Aso's future exploration of the Zen Academy family's shadow magic. Xue Yu knew that this kind of scheming with the tiger would definitely leave hidden dangers in the future, but he couldn't think too far at this moment. After all, as an experimental subject, he could still survive. If he didn't cooperate with me, he might have already disappeared into this world. Yes, Jiamao Xianluan will give the experimental institute to Xue Yu precisely because of the contract between the two people. This contract is a constraint for the future Xue Yu, but for the current Xue Yu, it is a form of protection. Another reason why Xue Yu joined Jiamao Xianluan is that he hopes to transform his body through exploration. Relying on the hidden boss Suo to awaken his own spell, he really can't think of any other way to let him control his destiny in the future spell world. After all, the entire Zen house has not had the strongest 10 shadow spells for a long time. Although Xue Yu had fantasized about it himself, he also knew that the probability of awakening his shadow spell was almost zero. After all, he had already awakened with his huge curse power, and would not have been abandoned by the Zen Academy family. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Weak cheats, self-improvement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the future, even Fu Heihui, who possesses shadow spell techniques, will have little presence in the entire world of spell battles. It was not until he was successfully executed by Su Nuo and received flesh, and completed the achievement of the 5 stripes awakening, that everyone began to realize the power of Fu Heihui and the magic of Mo Shulua in shadow spells. In the early stages, the techniques of Zen masters may have been stronger than many incantations. However, once promoted to level 1 or even a special level, the ordinary techniques of the Zen Academy are not very obvious. When fighting against super-level spells such as Su Noa, Lu Hu, Hua Yu, and Zhen Ren, the techniques of the Zen Academy are even more inadequate. So, transforming one's own body and breaking through limitations is Xue Yu's future survival rule. Awakening 10 types of shadow spells and techniques, this is something that Xue Yu has been longing for since he realized his lineage as a member of the Zen Academy family. However, it is not easy to awaken the shadow spell of one's own body. In this era, the only one who can help oneself is the most evil sorcerer who reads it as Jia Mao Xianluan's writing method based on the understanding of the original work in previous lives. The 10 shadow spells are the strongest weapons of the Zen Academy family, truly establishing the position of the 3 royal families of the Zen Academy family. In the hands of Su Noa, one can even surpass the 6 eyes plus boundless spells, but no one knows the methods for awakening the 10 shadow spells. The carrier of the heavenly and curse binding in the Zen Academy, who has no curse power at all, can still give birth to Fu Heihui, who awakens 10 shadow spells. Who can justify this kind of thing? However, due to his rebellious nature, Xue Yu had a completely new idea of his own. Whether it is the 6 eyes of the Wujiao family or the 10 shadow spells of the Zen Academy family, they are essentially manifestations of the bloodlines of the 3 major families. If one cannot awaken corresponding spells through their own talents, is it possible to carry out one's own genetic modification? If one's own genetic modification becomes as adaptable to the existence of 10 shadow spells as Fu Heihui, wouldn't it be possible for oneself to awaken this spell? Based on this conjecture, Xue Yu put forward this bold idea to Xiao Suo. After detecting that Xue Yu did not have a talent for magic, Suo also began to officially implement this genetic modification plan on Xue Yu. Although Suo was a hidden boss, he was still in the Meiji era and his vision was not as broad as that of the adventurer Xue Yu. So, when Xue Yu proposed the genetic modification plan, Suo was like an epiphany. The key factor in this genetic modification plan is to obtain sufficient genetic samples from Zen homes. Especially for those who have awakened 10 types of shadow spells and techniques, the deceased of Zen homes Xue Yu couldn't do this kind of thing, but for expert corpse thief Suo, it can be considered easy to catch. After Jiamao Xianluan left, Xue Yu looked around in the center of the Buddhist temple and saw the previous work of Suo. The 9-phase diagram of the cursed child. 9 different meat-like substances are soaking in different containers. And the woman Lizi, who gave birth to 9 children, is now lying in the coffin of the Buddhist temple. Xue Yu, as an assistant, provided a lot of help to Asuo during the birth process of the mantra 9-phase diagram. However, he also sympathized with the woman who gave birth to the cursed fetus, so after the last cursed fetus died after the woman was born, he silently helped the woman prepare a coffin, helped her with the collection, and wished her a speedy enlightenment. And right next to this coffin, Xue Yu suddenly noticed a slight abnormality. The 9 elements diagram clearly only has 9 vessels. Why did I just glance over it and it seems like it has turned into 10? Xue Yu turned his head to look over, and the label on the last vessel read, the 10 shadow spells of the Zen Academy's dead gene liquid. Yu Jun, whether you need to use it or not, please decide for yourself. Now, as Suo left, he did not take away the 9-phase diagram, but also left behind his own genes from the Zen Academy. Xue Yu was touched in his heart. No matter what the purpose of leaving these things for himself was, he knew that these things were extremely important to him at present. Whether one can become stronger in the future and occupy a place in the world of spells dominated by strong players, can only rely on the genes provided by Aso. Suo, I know you just want to give it a try. I also know that I'm just your test subject, but I won't give up on it. If I could awaken the corresponding spell, perhaps I could also become a chess player. After all, this is still the Meiji era and not the main plot of the spell battle. In this world, there is no Wujiao Wu or Liangshuo Noa that has not awakened. The time for death and retreat has not yet arrived, and after awakening the shadow spell, it is already enough to enjoy this life. Xue Yu looked at the genes in his hand and made up his mind. After all, it's better than becoming an ordinary person no matter what. Moreover, once one loses the protection of Jiamao Xianluan, their fate will not be much better. The best state is to be taken back to the Zen house and become a tool for providing curse power. Let me give it a try and see if genetic modification can give me the right to change the world in this peculiar world. As long as I wake up, this world without the 5 principles of enlightenment and the 2 faces of Noah should revolve around my will, right? If you haven't woken up, it's good to just die like this. Xue Yu looked at the gene liquid in his hand again, his face gradually becoming more serious. He knows that there are too many uncertain factors in the evolution at the genetic level. The genetic fluid left by the brain flower in front of him may be the key to changing his own destiny, or it may be the venom that buries his life. At this moment, he has no capital or opportunity to conduct live experiments. After all, it's difficult to find a Zen family's bloodline for experimentation. Even more difficult, I only have this little genetic fluid and have no capital to squander it. At present, Xue Yu cannot even estimate the probability of his own successful survival. However, he can only take this gamble. Can he ultimately control his own destiny in the future, live with dignity, and break free from the fate of ordinary people devoured by spells? All of this can only be seen in the bottle of gene liquid left by Jiamao Xianluan. As for whether Jiamao Xianluan did anything in this bottle of gene liquid, Xue Yu no longer cares. Anyway, the big deal is just death. He can accept the worst-case scenario, and the other issues are just minor matters. Without too much hesitation, Xue Yu felt overwhelmed and directly injected the genetic fluid into his body. Ah! Almost at the moment when the gene solution was injected into his body, Xue Yu couldn't help but scream uncontrollably. He swore that he had never experienced such pain in his life. Heart-piercing. It's as piercing as bone. I thought that after following Jiamao Xianluan through so many experiments, Xue Yu's own physical resistance and patience were already strong enough. In Xue Yu's view, no pain can compare to the helplessness of being unable to control one's future. However, at this moment, when the pain truly appeared, he realized that he was just an ordinary person. So ordinary that I can't even endure the pain. Xue Yu was originally lying on the wooden bed next to the coffin for injection, but in unconscious pain, he fell into the coffin he had prepared for Lizzie. Subsequently, he completely lost consciousness. The next second, a mutated tent was spread around the room, and the memory image of Jiamao Xianluan suddenly appeared in the room. Yu Jun, this is the opportunity one have given you. This gene liquid contains the 6 genes of the Wujiao family, the 10 shadow spell controller genes of the Zen Academy family, and the red blood spell gene in my body. If the genetic modification you mentioned did not deceive me, perhaps I have created a very terrifying monster. However, genetic modification or something is simply impossible, isn't it? The memory image of the brain flower in the room completely disappeared after self-deprecating a sentence. The basement behind the temple is completely isolated from the world. The genes of the Wujiao, Jiamao, and Chanyuan families began to constantly collapse and recombine within Xue Yu's body. The genes of the Yuzhen family cannot be fused in Xue Yu's body at all. The brain flower experiment is simply a fantasy. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Talent begins to show off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If Xue Yu knew that the gene liquid in this tube was mixed with the genes of the 3 royal families, he would never have killed himself by injecting the gene liquid into his body. He is from the Zen Academy family, not from the Gojo and Kumo families. He just coveted the 10 shadow spells of the Zen Academy family, not the 6 eyes of the Gojo family or the red blood spells of the Kumo family. Hate. At the moment when Xue Yu lost consciousness, he learned about the experimental plan of brain flower. With a strong resentment towards brain flower, he completely lost control of his body. If there was a chance to wake up, he would definitely personally thank brain flower for sending him this bone-wrenching human experiment. Xue Yu, who had lost consciousness, began to lose weight day by day, and soon he would die in this secret room. This is in the plan of Jiamao Xianluan. As expected by Xue Yu, who was also learning about the Jiamao Xianluan experiment. Xue Yu, this weak traveler is about to dissipate in this world. He is not a protagonist like Gojo Satoru, nor a villain like Tanaka. He doesn't even have the qualification to leave a trace in this world. 3 months later, the entire secret room was filled with resentment from Xue Yu before he fell into a coma. Brain flower has also forgotten about Xue Yu as an experimental subject. However, no one expected that Xue Yu still had vitality in this mutated tent. The hatred in the entire secret room changed from 1 to 2. Lizzie, the mother of the 9-phase diagram of the cursed fetus, awakened under the resonance of Xue Yu's hatred. Although Xue Yu lost consciousness, his innate curse power and truth have always existed, bringing unparalleled curse power to his genes through continuous recombination. And this uncontrollable curse power unconsciously cursed Lizzie beside him, making him a special level curse. After waking up, Lizzie regarded Xue Yu, who also possessed the Jiamao Xianluan bloodline gene, as her own child. With the help of Lizzie's curse power and the support of the other 9 curse fetuses, Xue Yu's vitality remained immortal. In this way, the speed of gene recombination within Xue Yu's body reached a delicate balance with the repair speed of Lizzie and the 9 mantra fetus. So Xue Yu's other talent, aristocratic bloodline, is now beginning to show its true use, constantly melting these 3 bloodlines, but the process is a bit long. In the mini-tent of brain flower, which was almost only slightly depleted, Xue Yu was forgotten and struggling to survive 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, 150 years later. Society for the Study of Spiritual Phenomena. Senior Sasaki, Senior Inoue, I have to go back before 5 o'clock today. Don't explore any supernatural phenomena today, right? In the activity room, a man with pink spiky short hair, light golden pupils, and wearing a light yellow hoodie in jeans looked helplessly at the 2 senior classmates in front of him. He joined the Society for the Study of Spiritual Phenomena entirely because President Sasaki told him that he only needed to be a member of the Void and did not need to participate in any activities. If it weren't for my grandfather forcing me, Urine Tiger Stick wouldn't even want to join any clubs. Hi, Urine, don't worry. This location is not far, it will definitely end before 5 o'clock. Please, Urine. Sasaki clasped his hands together and made a gesture of request. Although she and Inoue are both formal members of the Society for the Study of Spiritual Phenomena, their courage is really small. Now that a strong young man like Yuren Huzhang has joined, how can they not take him to participate in activities to strengthen their courage? Really? Yuren Huzhang scratched his head and finally expressed agreement. I've agreed, it must be finished before 5 o'clock. He still had to rush to the hospital to see his grandfather. Although his grandfather didn't say anything and appeared full of confidence, he already had a premonition that there should be only a few days left until his grandfather left this world correctly. Thank you, Yuren. Without you, Lingyan really wouldn't know what to do. Sasaki and Inoue breathed a sigh of relief. If it weren't for their tiger wand, they wouldn't have dared to explore that dilapidated temple today. Oh, has this temple been abandoned for so long? Sasaki looked at the decaying temple with disappointment on her face. She thought there would be some special and supernatural traces left in this dilapidated temple. Tiger Wand Yuren stepped on a rotten floor and felt a bit embarrassed. It's Senior Sasaki, you're a talented person to discover this place. It's so hidden here, and if it weren't for you leading the way, I might have gotten lost directly. Although Yuren Huzhang didn't know what Ling research was actually about, his interactions with Sasaki and Inoue in the past few days made him feel very comfortable. Accompanying them outside to fool around, He also felt that it was not a waste of time. Well, this temple was built at least a few hundred years ago. However, it seems that it has been abandoned for over 100 years. There shouldn't be much to explore. Disappointed, Sasaki walked up to Hirohito's side and prepared to leave with him. But just as they were about to turn around and leave, the sound from the wellhead suddenly came over. Sasaki, urine. Come and take a look, there seems to be a basement here. Senior, please give way and I'll open it and take a look. Yuren Huzhang looked at the well-sealed basement ceiling with a curious expression on his face. Since he has arrived here, he also wants to know if there is anything special hidden inside this temple. Tiger Wand Yuren tugged hard at the top cover, but to his surprise, it was incredibly sturdy and even he couldn't open it. For him, whose physical fitness far exceeds that of an ordinary person, this is simply an incredible thing. After all, if he wants to do it, he can easily break world records. How could he be hindered by a small top cover? But just as Yuren Huzhang was preparing to give it another try with all his might, Sasaki's stuttering voice suddenly rang in his ear. Yuren, why don't we just give up? Maybe these are still cultural relics. If they were destroyed by us, it wouldn't be good. Sasaki looked at Huzhang with an unconvinced expression on her face, and her heart was also beating drums. She may not be able to persuade Huzhang. Oh, it's already 5 o'clock. Suddenly, the nearby wellhead also said something, which made Yuren Hu's eyes widen. Is it 5 o'clock? That's over, it's getting late. Senior Sasaki and Senior Inoue, I'll go back first. After finishing speaking, Yuren Huzhang picked up his bag and disappeared in front of Sasaki and Inoue in a flash. Watching the figure of Tiger Wand leaving, Sasaki and Inoue exchanged a glance and breathed a sigh of relief. It's better not to move around, in case it causes any trouble, it won't be good. Wellhead, I can't tell you're quite clever. Sasaki punched the wellhead, and a hint of smile appeared behind his glasses. And the simple and honest-looking wellhead also chuckled and whispered. Sasaki, let's go back too. The sun is almost setting. Sasaki nodded and looked around the ruins of the temple. Well, let's go. Lingyan's exploration activity once again ended in failure. The shadows of Sasaki and the wellhead were getting lower and lower under the sunset, and the orange sunlight shone on the ruins of the temple and Sasaki in their bodies, gilding everything that shone. And in the area that Sasaki and the wellhead did not see, a black mist slowly emerged from the edge of the basement roof they had previously discovered. At the moment when the setting sun was about to set, the long-closed basement roof came loose. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Awakening, myself is a bit strange. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xue Yu forcefully opened his eyes. Where is this? Am I dead or have I traveled through it again? Sitting up from the coffin, Xue Yu first saw a demon with a fierce face. Although the appearance of the curse was extremely terrifying and completely different from before, Xue Yu recognized the identity of the curse for the first time. Lizi. Upon hearing Xue Yu call out his name, Lizi, who had become a special level spell, gently caressed Xue Yu's face, her eyes filled with love. Did something happen? Xue Yu felt that his body seemed to have inexplicable connections with 10 creatures. The one with the clearest connection is Lizi beside her. And the other 9 seem to have a common bloodline with themselves, waiting for their call at any time. The ferocious spell that Lizi transformed into made a hoarse sound, which could not be expressed in human language. However, Xue Yu still understood the meaning of her words. Child, you finally woke up. Your 9 younger brothers have merged with you. Xue Yuja didn't react at first, but then, seeing the 9 broken cultivation dishes around him, he roughly realized the meaning of Lizi's words. Does Lizi treat herself, who has the bloodline of Jiamao Xianluan, as his child. What does it mean that the mantra 9-phase diagram has merged with oneself? Is one able to survive because of the mantra 9-phase diagram? The other 9 mysterious creatures I sensed were those 9 cursed fetuses. Lizzie and her 9 cursed fetuses all signed contracts with me. Xue Yu had some doubts about his identity at this moment, and he didn't know what had happened. However, judging from the abundant curse power on Lizzie's body, she should have been inexplicably cursed and become the curse that signed a contract with her. Isn't I the same as the pure love god of war, Gu Yu Tai? Are I going to be the pure love god of war during the Meiji period? However, it seems that Lizzie's feelings towards herself are not the same as those between Gu Yute and Li Xiang. Yute and Li Xiang are in love, while Lizzie's feelings towards herself are family affection. Sigh. Xue Yu sighed and said softly. Since I survived because of you, and you mistook me for your child, let me be your child in this life. I will treat the 9 cursed fetuses you left behind as my own brothers. You have become my guardian curse, so I also have an obligation to protect your child. A glimmer of happiness appeared in Xue Yu's heart. Even if his genetic modification failed, at least a special level spell like Lizzie was guarding him. Moreover, it seems that I am also able to summon the 9-phase diagram of the cursed fetus. It's already pretty good. This kind of self is equivalent to having a super-level spell like Pure Love God of War Gu Yu Tai as a guardian. It is possible to manipulate the 9-phase diagram of the cursed fetuses, similar to possessing Xia Yojia's spirit manipulation skills. According to the original world line, 3 of the 9 cursed fetuses in the 9-phase diagram are top-level spells, which can be considered as a unique level of strength. By this calculation, is it equivalent to having the strength of 2 top-level spell masters? Xue Yu suddenly felt that he had benefited from misfortune. Even if genetic modification failed and he could not master the techniques of the Zen Academy, he would have been able to dominate the Meiji era with his spells and the protection of Lizzie, right? Xue Yu crawled out of the coffin, dragging his hungry body. The cursed spirit Lizzie floated behind Xue Yu like this, and their state was similar to that of Gu Yu Taichu entering the Curse Art College. Why is the stench of decay all around? Xue Yu frowned and waved his hand, using the moonlight scattered in the sky to find a mirror. I don't know if I'm starving to the bone now. I feel like I've been sleeping for at least a month or 2, right? At this moment, Xue Yu had no idea how long time had passed. He still believed that he was in the Meiji era and was considering how to live in this era in the future. However, the next second, the image in the mirror disrupted his inner thoughts. Looking at his own appearance in the mirror, Xue Yu's heart was filled with shock. Now he is no longer the same as Xue Yu before, and the details of his facial features have been restored to their original appearance. At this moment, he was wearing a head of pure white long hair and looked very young. Most importantly, his eyelashes were also white, and his pupils were filled with a dreamy deep blue color. This is 6 eyes. This is the pupil of heaven. Xue Yu was full of doubts. He could not believe his eyes, but he could confirm that these eyes were exactly the same as those in the original book. Can it be said that Suo has successfully genetically modified himself? But isn't my main goal of transformation the 10 shadow spells of the Zen Academy? From this body perspective, I should be more accustomed to the techniques of the Zen Academy. Xue Yu felt the changes in his body, and after realizing that he couldn't use shadow magic, he suspected that the genes of the Zen Academy family had not been able to compete with the 6-eye genes added by Aso. So, currently I am presenting the 6-eye trait of the Gojo family. This is not bad either. However, Xue Yu still doubted whether his 6 eyes were just superficial. Because currently, he doesn't have the 360-degree long-range vision of his 6 eyes, and now he can't even see Lizzie behind him with this pair of eyes that look like the sky eye. Subconsciously, Xue Yu took a step forward and stepped on a piece of glass on the ground. The broken glass from the cursed embryo culture dish penetrated through the already decayed cloth shoes and plunged into Xue Yu's feet. Xue Yu felt a sharp pain, and then bright red blood flowed out with the wound. He instinctively lowered his head, and under the moonlight, he felt the strings of blood gushing out from his feet that could be directly manipulated by him. This is red blood exercise. Xue Yu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Sleeping for 150 years, outrageous. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xue Yu's heart was full of surprises, completely ignoring the bleeding wound. Although he didn't know how to manipulate these blood droplets, he realized that this was probably due to the brain flower using the genes left by Jia Maoxian's body to have an effect in his body. Can you actually use the red blood technique yourself? This is a technique that was rarely borne by the Yusanjia and Jiamao families themselves, and now it appears directly on themselves. That is to say, can Jiamao Xianluan's genes also play a role in oneself? I currently have suspected 6 eyes with 5 family genes in my body, as well as suspected red blood exercises with Jiamao family genes. How come? It's just the ability of one's own Zen master that one has not mastered the most. Is the shadow magic of the Zen Academy really weak? This shouldn't be so. If it's really weak, why would the 2 sides of the Noa choose Fu Heihui as their physical body in the future? It is obvious that Su Noa also covets the ability of 10 shadow spells. I can't figure it out. Xue Yu feels that his body still needs more time and energy to study. After all, after being genetically modified, he really can't figure out which family he belongs to anymore at present. This body appears to be a hybrid of various abilities. Spell exercise. Curse guarding. The pupils of the heavens. Red blood exercise. Any one of these abilities that is mastered by others will become a strong force in this era. Now, it is suspected that Xue Yu may also possess these 4 abilities. As long as he recovers, there is no problem for him to dominate the entire Meiji era, right? Xue Yu reluctantly sealed the wound on his foot with his yet-to-be-mastered blood manipulation ability and quietly crawled out of the basement. The account was only recently destroyed, so it was those guys from the Mage Association who found it here. But why didn't they come in to find me when they found it here? Xue Yu muttered to himself. And behind her, Lizzie responded with a growl. Lizzie. Are you saying that there was someone who smelled very close to me here before and broke the record? Xue Yu touched his chin, his expression lost in thought. Does it taste similar to oneself? Are they from the Zen Academy family? Xue Yu pondered while looking around. When he saw the dilapidated temple, he was completely shocked. What kind of ghost? Didn't I just sleep for a few months? How could this temple even rot like this? A suspicion suddenly appeared in Xue Yu's heart. Can we say that we didn't sleep for a few months, but rather for a long time? Isn't this the Meiji period anymore? Xue Yu's face changed, as if he had realized something, and he quickly ran to the edge of the cliff. Looking at the brightly lit city in the distance, he realized that he had gone from a coma during the Meiji period to modern times. Given the size of the city, he is very skeptical that it has now entered the 21st century. Lizzie, how many years have we been inside? Xue Yu murmured to himself, not asking Lizzie a question. We need to go see what this new world really looks like. Xue Yu had a guess in his heart. The idea of proclaiming himself king in Meiji has completely fallen through, and in this unknown modern era, Xue Yu suspects that he has awakened to the most turbulent and mysterious era in the original work. So, Xue Yu walked down the mountain with Lizzie, dressed in the Meiji-era kimono, wearing the stars and moon. And behind him, the elongated shadow kept changing its shape in places that Xue Yu couldn't see. Dogs, rabbits, elephants, birds, snakes, the shapes of numerous animals flow in his shadow. 150 years have passed. Looking for a convenience store casually, Xue Yu asked about the current era in the eyes of others. Tokyo in the 21st century. 150 years have passed like this, and I have truly gone from a coma during the Meiji era to the present day. So, the current environment is no longer the one Xue Yu had previously recognized. Xue Yu, who was about to faint from hunger, used Lizzie to buy some food from a convenience store for 0 yuan, and then returned to the ruins of the temple. He doesn't belong to this era at all, and he's completely homeless. Although this place has been abandoned, it can still be considered as the place where I have lived for 150 years. Moreover, besides this abandoned temple, I seem to have nowhere else to go. Although he has also read the original work, after traveling for such a long time, he does not know what happened in the current time corresponding to the original work. Has Tiger Wand Yuren joined the spell college? Has Liang Liangsu Noa reached an agreement with Hu Zhang? Has the brain flower already occupied Xia Yojia's body? These things can only be explored slowly by him in the future, but for Xue Yu, the top priority now is to find a way. When I was a search assistant, I signed a contract with him. Now, Xiaosuo is unaware of his current situation. Once he realizes that he is Xue Yu from 150 years ago, under this contract, he cannot do anything unfavorable to Xiaosuo. He is the person who is going to seek revenge. This genetic modification plan that arbitrarily adds other items is completely equivalent to ignoring his life and death. If it weren't for a coincidence, he wouldn't have survived until now. He's alive, so it's time for him to seek revenge. He is a traveler, not a native. Perhaps, in the eyes of Gao Suo, he may mistakenly believe that his contractual partner is Jiamao Xianluan, or that Jiamao Xianluan has died and his contract has been terminated. However, unfortunately, I am very clear about it. The true object of one's own contract is the brain flower. As long as the contract is not terminated, one cannot cause harm to the brain flower in the future. In this case, I can't retaliate against the brain flower no matter what. For myself, this can be considered very disgusting. 150 years ago, I was already killed by a brain teaser. After 150 years, I came back to life. Can't I repay the brain teaser well? I don't need the name Shanyuanyu anymore. Anyway, it's just an abandoned child of the Chanyuan family, and this name is also familiar to me. Let's use my own name instead. Zen Temple Yu sat on the edge of the cliff, admiring the moonlight, eating a sandwich in large gulps, and said to Lizzie, who was guarding him beside him. Lizzie, please call me Xue Yu from now on. This is my original name. Hiss. Lizzie opened her mouth and responded hoarsely. Yu Jun. Listening to Lizzie's response, Xue Yu smiled and also said, for Lizzie, whatever the name changes, she always refers to herself in this way. Being treated as a child by a special level spell is really a special feeling. Is Gu Yu Tai a pure love god of war? What is this to oneself? Mother loves god of war. After resting in the dilapidated temple for a whole day, when Xue Yu opened his eyes again, it was already the night of the second day. Well, how long have I been sleeping? Why hasn't it even started to light up yet? Xue Yu touched his hungry stomach and frowned slightly. After hearing Lizzie inform him that he had slept for a whole day, he also felt a bit helpless. Have you not yet adapted to this brand new body? How could you sleep for so long? It's scary, it's a waste of time. Xue Yu stretched lazily and patted Lizzie. Let's go, let's continue looking for something to eat. I was originally thinking of going to see the nodes of this era during the day, but now it seems like we have to wait another day. Lizzie nodded and silently followed. Another day when you need to buy for 0 yuan PS. I beg for the flowers and monthly tickets from all the readers. Thank you all. These data are really important, and your support is the driving force for me to move forward. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. The plot begins. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. As Xue Yu was holding the food that Lizzie had purchased for 0 yuan, Lizzie suddenly turned to one side and felt a familiar aura. Are you saying that the person with a similar aura to me appeared again yesterday? Xue Yu raised his eyebrows and had some speculations in his heart. In this era, apart from Gojo Satoru, who has 6 eyes, Kumo Kenji, who masters the red blood technique in the Kumo family, and Fu Heihui, who masters 10 types of shadow spells in the Zen Academy family, who can have a similar aura to himself, perhaps only the protagonist in the anime, Yoshihiro Habata. The one who broke the tent yesterday couldn't have been a magician. If it were a magician, they wouldn't have been able to explore the basement surrounded by the tent. So, the person that Lizzie mentioned with a similar aura to herself should be Yuren Huzhang. After all, it is reasonable for Yuren Huzhang to be noticed by Lizzie, who hates Nagasaki, as he is Nagasaki's child. In the middle of the night, the Tiger Wand appeared here. Based on yesterday's fact that Tiger Wand was not a magician yet and did not have enough understanding of the account, today Tiger Wand should be taking care of Grandpa in the hospital. Will it come out so late? Isn't today the moment when Su Nua's fingers are unblocked? Is it so coincidental that they will enter the main storyline the next day after awakening? Xue Yu tugged at the corner of his mouth. He didn't know if his guess was right or not, but he was looking forward to meeting the most perfect experimental sample, Yuren Tiger Stick. Is this carefully prepared Su Nua carrier, as special as in anime? Lizzie, can you trace that person? Let's go and take a look together. Xue Yu held milk in one hand and a sandwich in the other, swaying along with Lizzie. If it's really as Xue Yu guessed, then what's urgent is Tiger Wand Yuren and Fu Heihui, and I don't have much to worry about. In the original work, Yuren Huzhang picked up Su Nua's finger, but in Xue Yu's opinion, this Su Nua finger is likely the design of Soa Soa. If I follow the Tiger Wand, will I have a chance to see the rope? Or is it that I have actually brushed past Seiso from the moment I woke up? They will die. Fu Heihui and Huzhang Yuren ran wildly all the way. Can the talisman paper of that curse be easily torn open? Tiger Wand Yuren ran over and asked, his entire breath had not changed due to running. No, people without curse power cannot do it. Generally speaking, it's like this. Fu Heihui responded with a sentence. Upon hearing this, Tiger Stick breathed a sigh of relief. Most people cannot unlock talismans, so there should be no danger. Go to the right, take a shortcut. Tiger Wand Yuren turned right directly, and Fu Heihui also turned around in time. And not far or near behind them, a young man dressed in a blue antique kimono followed calmly. Although he was only walking, the distance between him and the 2 people in front of him never widened. Fu Heihui followed Huzhang Yuren and continued, saying. But this time the curse is too powerful, and the seal is also getting older, just like a piece of paper. Tiger Wand Yuren immediately looked helpless. However, I still find it unbelievable when you talk about curses. It's here. Taking a shortcut, the 2 quickly arrived at the school wall, but as soon as they stopped, a strong pressure spread from inside the school. Visible purple mist is escaping from the 4th floor of the school. What's going on with this pressure? Huzhang Yuren widened his eyes and stared blankly at the teaching building. The school at night looked completely different from during the day, revealing a gloomy feeling. Fu Heihui's expression suddenly became very serious. You stay here. Subsequently, he flipped over the iron gate and prepared to enter the school. Seeing this scene, the Tiger Cane took a step forward and loudly said. I'll go too, it's very dangerous, isn't it? Although I haven't known my seniors for long, they are my friends and I can't ignore them. Fu Heihui stood on the door, with his back to the Tiger Cane Yoshihiro, and a hint of rejection flashed in his eyes. Stay here. Finally, he jumped into the school and ran towards the 4th floor of the teaching building. Well, it's really the beginning of the main storyline. Xue Yu stretched lazily, everything was as he had guessed. Tonight was the moment when the two sides of the Noa finger were unsealed. It is also the beginning of the entire spell battle. I don't know if Su Soa is watching in this school. His dear child is here to become the carrier of Su Noa, and this rare scene must be seen with his own eyes. Xue Yu muttered to himself. Lizzie, you said you should go around and check if there are any traces of rope. Okay, you go ahead. I should be able to handle this alone. Although he had only woken up for 2 days and his genes seemed to have not stabilized yet, Xue Yu still felt that there was a lot of curse power in his body. Dealing with the curse in this school is not a problem. Lizzie received a positive answer from Xue Yu, and her entire figure instantly disappeared. And Xue Yu leisurely walked to the side of Tiger Wand Yuren. I can only listen to what he says. Are you waiting here? What am I afraid of? The seniors will die. Yeah, the smell of death is in me. After all, I'm also afraid of death. Am I afraid? I didn't feel anything at all. I cry not because of fear, but because of some loneliness. Grandpa's death, and the death that happened before me. What's different? Yuren, whose hands were constantly trembling. Listening to Yuren, whose self-talk, Xue Yu knew that it was time for Yuren, whose inner struggle and self-awakening. You are very powerful and need to save others. Grandpa's words kept coming to mind in Tiger Stick's mind. Yo, little brother, do you look very confused? What are you staring at here? Is there something left in the school? Xue Yu's words awakened the pondering Tiger Wand Yuren, who instinctively turned his head and saw Xue Yu wearing an ancient kimono. Classmate, it's very dangerous here. Please leave quickly. I'm really strong, so I have to go save others. Yuren Huzhang didn't expect that someone would appear near the school in the middle of the night. This person's attire is a bit strange, and his temperament doesn't seem like a modern person. Moreover, what is he wearing sunglasses for most of the night? However, he didn't have time to dwell on it. He had to save his predecessors like Heihui. Hurry up and leave. Huzhang Yuren emphasized that he leaped over the iron gate and entered the school. Really a gentle and conflicted person. I don't know how Lasso gave birth to such a gentle child. However, Tuan Xiang is also very gentle and has been taking care of his younger brothers. Sure enough, all the original sins are on Soa's body. Xue Yu stretched lazily and leisurely kicked open the iron door, continuing to follow behind Tiger Wand Yuren. P.S. I beg for the flowers and monthly tickets from all the readers. Thank you all. These data are really important, and your support is the driving force for me to move forward. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Participation in the plot, Little Butterfly Incites. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Until I saw Yuren Huzhang standing on the first floor and jumping up the fourth floor with a leap. TSK, is this the most successful work of Soa? With such an extraordinary body, it is truly a body prepared for Su Noa. However, unfortunately, what Su Noa craves is Fu Heihui's body, and the tiger cane is just a transition for Su Noa. Soa, for the same work, if you are so devoted to the tiger wand and so indifferent to me and the 9 curse fetus, we will also be jealous, right? All 10 of our works have died once. Shouldn't it have nothing to do with Lasso? Xue Yu sighed at the strength of Yuren's body, while also sorting out how to survive in this era in the future. Having Lizzie in the 9 mantra fetus, one's own strength is very strong. Equivalent to a combination of Gu Yu Tai and Xia Yu Jia, but compared to them, my curse power is still a bit too weak. I don't know if the red blood manipulation technique inside the body and this pair of 6 eyes are really useful. Faced with challenges, 1.1 combat may still not be possible. Moreover, once Lasso guesses his identity and uses the contract, he has no way to retaliate against Lasso since we have all awakened in this era, why not take advantage of the 6 eyes of this era? In the sky and in the world, the 5 wise ones, who are all exclusive to oneself, should be very interested in the thoughts that occupy Xia Yojia's body, right? Follow Wu Jiao Wu to improve your abilities. As long as you follow the main character group, there will always be a chance to meet with Aso. Tonight, let's play along with the main storyline. Let everything take its course. I am a player from the chaotic neutral camp. I hope Wu Jiao Wu can create a 1.1 chance for me to face Sasuo before becoming 2.5 Jiao Wu. Even if it fails, I hope to have a good exchange of experiences with this teacher. Xue Yu silently jumped up the tall building in the way of a tiger cane. In the teaching building, the tiger cane that jumped from the 1st floor to the 4th floor kicked away the curse that was about to devour the senior Lingyan at the most critical moment. If it were a death like Grandpa's, it would be correct, but the death here is incorrect. Seeing Hirohito the Tiger Wand save Sasaki in Inoue, and complete the physical defeat with a single punch, Heihui's face was filled with shock. Xue Yu in the shadow wanted to roast when he saw this scene. Yuren, do you insist on mentioning the correct way for Grandpa to die? If Grandpa had a spirit in heaven, he might have been killed by your filial piety upon hearing it. However, the body of the Tiger Wand is really powerful. It's great to directly subdue demons with its body. It's indeed a great work. Xue Yu continued to watch quietly, witnessing everything that happened. Is this a curse? Tiger Wand Yuren widened his eyes and realized that the monster in front of him was completely different from what he had imagined. It's really ugly. Just as he was thinking about how to use his fist to deal with this ugly spell, the next second, the spell was torn apart from thin air, and 2 barks, one black and one white, rushed forward to devour the remains of the spell. Tiger Wand Yuren stared blankly at Fu Heihui, who was rubbing her shoulders. Looking at the 2 black and white barks, he didn't know what to say. I wanted to ask why you came. But you did a good job. Listening to Fu Heihui's condescending tone, Huzhang Yuren's face stretched long. What are you dragging? Sai, what's eating the curse over there? Huzhang Yuren looked at the 2 barks, one black and one white, and asked curiously. Appearing here so late and still gnawing on the curse, it doesn't seem like an ordinary bark at first glance. It's my style god, what you can see, right? Fu Heihui, with both hands in her pockets, glanced at the jade dog behind her who was binge eating and continued to say. Most people can't see curses. At the moment of death or in such special circumstances, that's just a matter of 2. Tiger Wand Yuren nodded and said. Oh, you're right, I've never seen a ghost or anything like that since I'm so big. The tone of the whole person appeared very relaxed. Huzhang Yuren's state surprised Fu Heihui. Aren't you afraid? Tiger Wand Yuren glanced at Fu Heihui with a white expression. Ah. I was quite scared originally, you know, people really die. So, I think, at least let the people I know get the right death. However, I don't quite understand either. Yuren Huzhang picked up Sasaki, and the items wrapped in talismans fell from Sasaki's pocket. The tiger cane grabbed the cursed object and casually asked, is that what you're looking for? Well, a super curse. It's really a miracle that the fingers of the 2 sides of Su Noa were not eaten. Fu Heihui explained coldly. In Xue Yu's eyes, he felt that the 2 hearts were really big, so he had to communicate here. Why eat it? Is it delicious? Yuren Huzhang didn't expect this finger to still have this usage. Crunchy and chicken flavored. It's okay, you'll soon know. Fu Hei, if you don't react, you'll get hurt again. Xue Yu chuckled lightly and looked at the trace of the spell on the ceiling, looking forward to the look of a tiger cane eating fingers behind him. What nonsense are you talking about? It's to gain powerful curse power. This thing is very dangerous, give it to me quickly. Fu Heihui's face is full of black lines, and she doesn't know how to roast about the Yuren tiger stick. However, as soon as he looked up, his face was filled with panic. Behind him, 2 jade dogs also reacted and rushed to Fu Heihui's side. Run quickly. Fu Heihui pushed away Yuren with a tiger cane, and the next second, a huge spell fell from the ceiling and fiercely hit Fu Heihui's body. The smoke dissipated, and a huge blue spell appeared in front of Yuren Huzhang. This curse has a body size 10 times that of a normal person, and what makes people look nauseous is that its tongue is covered in dense eyes. Fu Heihui is currently being held by this spell. I saw the disheveled Fu Heihui reluctantly cross her hands and make a hand gesture. She had just shouted, and was ready to summon the second Shirshan. But the curse didn't give him a chance and threw him to the side. The intense impact caused Fu Heihui to spit out a mouthful of blood. Under such an attack, not only did Fu Heihui not summon a demon, but even the 2 previously summoned jade dogs could not maintain their form and melted away. Here we go. The show has begun. Well, what's the situation? This is the method of summoning the jade dog. Isn't it possible that I only have genes for 6 eyes and red blood magic in my body now? How come I also have shadow magic? Can we say that the genetic modification project was successful? I also have the talent for shadow spells, but I didn't notice it yesterday. In the shadow, Xue Yu felt very surprised as he felt something in his mind. If you have all these talents at the same time, it means you seem to be able to use the secret techniques of the 3 major families at the same time. Jade dog. Xue Yu just subconsciously wanted to give it a try. In his opinion, he did not create a dog like hand shadow like Fu Heihui, so he should not be able to summon the jade dog. However, to his surprise, at the moment he shouted out the jade dog, his own shadow moved. The hands of his own shadow unexpectedly took the initiative to grip each other, creating a dog-like hand shadow. P.S. I beg for the flowers and monthly tickets from all the readers. Thank you all. These data are really important, and your support is the driving force for me to move forward. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Shadow Spell Shocking Fu Heihui. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The next second, 2 jade dogs, 1 black and 1 white, appeared out of thin air. Oh! Am I even considered to have successfully subdued the jade dog? Is it so simple? So, what about, Xue Yu shouted softly, but this time, his shadow did not make a bird-like hand figure like Fu Heihui. So, it was not possible to summon. Okay, then let's use the jade dog first. Maybe, hasn't been successfully subdued yet, maybe we need to see Fu Heihui release it with our own eyes, right? Xue Yu chuckled self-deprecatingly. Indeed, even if he had the talent for 10 shadow spells, he couldn't master each one alone until he adapted to this body. Just go eat. Jade dog. Xue Yu pointed with his right hand, and 2 jade dogs, 1 black and 1 white, rushed straight towards the curse that caught Fu Heihui. At the moment when the jade dog rushed out, Fu Heihui and Tiger Wand Yuren realized the existence of Xue Yu. Classmate, why are you here? Didn't we ask you to leave quickly before? For Xue Yu, who was still wearing sunglasses in the middle of the night, Huzhang Yuren can be considered as having a deep memory. And Fu Heihui was completely shocked. Why would there still be a pair of jade dogs appearing here? Can we say that this is the style god of the young man in sunglasses in front of us? But isn't it true that only the 10 shadow spells of the Zen Academy can subdue the jade dog? Why can the young man in front of me also summon? Can we say that this young man with sunglasses is a member of the Zen family? Between the lightning and fire stones, the 2 jade dogs summoned by Xue Yu had already bitten off the fingers of the curse, rescuing Fu Heihui from being bound. At the moment of rescue, Fu Heihui clasped her hands and made a dog-like hand figure, softly calling out the jade dog. In an instant, another pair of jade dogs also appeared in the corridor. For jade dogs staggered in attack, and in the original work, a spell that needed to be swallowed by a tiger stick and transformed into Su Noa to be killed was bitten by Xue Yu and Fu Heihui's jade dogs. Little brother, are you also a spell master? Upon seeing this scene, Yuren Huzhang held Sasaki in his arms, feeling as if he had guessed Xue Yu's identity. After all, standing here, anyone can tell that the other two are not the Shirshan of Fu Heihui. Ah, oh. A sorcerer, I guess so. Xue Yu nodded, but his attention was not focused on Tiger Wand Yuren. His gaze was constantly shifting back and forth between his own pair of jade dogs and Fu Heihui's pair of jade dogs. Why is my jade dog thinner and smaller than Fu Heihui's jade dog? It shouldn't be. Is my current curse power even weaker than Fu Heihui? Xue Yu rubbed his chin, his blue eyes behind his sunglasses filled with displeasure. Is it still because the genes of the Yuzhen family are blending in, that the curse power cannot be improved? If there is no curse power support, even if one truly masters the ancestral techniques of the Yuzhen family, they may not be able to use them a few times, right? Xue Yu made a guess in his heart, which he believed best suited his physical condition. However, what no one can see is that an invisible thread behind Xue Yu's body is connecting to the distance, and the curse power inside Xue Yu's body is constantly transmitting outward along this thread. Are you from the Zen Academy? Fu Heihui's expression was a bit strange. He had never seen the person in front of him before, and his pure white long hair, paired with this kind of clothing and sunglasses, was quite unique. Zen Academy. Oh, maybe, you can call me Xue Yu. Xue Yu briefly introduced himself. Then he walked directly towards Huzhang Yuren. Since he had already arrived here, he was still interested in the fingers of the two-sided Nuo. He had already felt Lizzie approaching in his direction, and today's main task should have ended. I can be considered as disrupting the main storyline, so next, I should correct the main storyline. Xue Yu. You're not from the Zen Academy family, Xue family. Is there a family in the world of spells? Fu Heihui always felt that this name had an exotic flavor. It's okay, don't worry. I'm the only one in my family. Xue Yu shook his head and reached out his hand to Yuren with the tiger staff. Tiger staff, show me Su Noa's fingers. Faced with Xue Yu's request, Huzhang Yuren hesitated for a moment, and then without any hesitation, handed Su Noa's fingers directly to Xue Yu. This action was so straightforward that Fu Heihui didn't even have the opportunity to say a word of refusal. Tiger Wand, you're too unguarded. How could you give a special level spell to a stranger casually? How do you know that this person is in the same camp as us? Fu Heihui said something roast, but she could only keep silent. After all, Xue Yu just saved himself just now, so suspecting the other party is really a bit sorry for Xue Yu's action of saving himself just now. Is this the finger of Su Nuo? The finger of the Cursed King, one finger has such powerful power. If all 20 are together, it would be terrifying to think about it. Xue Yu shook his head and threw his finger to the tiger cane. Xue Yu, what 20 fingers? You don't count your toes, do you? Normal humans only have 10 fingers. Yuren Huzhang always pays attention to some special details. Faced with the correction of the tiger cane, Xue Yu shook his head helplessly. Don't you know? Su Noa has 4 arms. After speaking, Xue Yu gently pushed Yuren's chest with a tiger cane, pushing it 5 meters away. Then, he jumped back. Neither Huzhang nor Fu Hei realized the reason why Xue Yu made this action. But the next second, the shattered roof froze them once again. A spell larger than the previous blue spell appeared. Sure enough, a brand new spell has appeared. Is it because of one's own appearance, or is it because of Lizzie's influence? This Soa Noa finger unexpectedly attracted a spell that was about to break through and become a special level. It seems like I have too much respect, right? Without Lizzie, it would be very difficult for me to defeat the quasi-special level spell. Xue Yu shrugged helplessly and suddenly said to the air, Lizzie, you don't need to hurry back. Explore again and study whether this quasi-special level spell was actually released by that man. And, it's just a quasi-special level spell. Xue Yu had some doubts in his heart that such a spell should not appear silently in school. At the current timeline, the only one who can achieve this is probably the brain flower version of Xue Yu, who controls the spell technique. Is Lasso really nearby? Xue Yu is not sure if there is such a possibility, but currently, he needs to focus more attention on the quasi-special level spell in front of him. Lizzie. Tiger Wand and Fu Hei don't know who Xue Yu is talking to, but judging from Xue Yu's tone and address, it should be with a woman. Can it be said that the man in front of me, named Xue Yu, has another companion as a spell master? A quasi-special level spell, is that all? Does Xue Yu have such confidence in defeating quasi-special level spells? Fu Heihui had some expectations for Xue Yu in her heart. After all, the person in front of her was really a bit mysterious. Perhaps there was really some trump card to solve this quasi-special level spell. However, Xue Yu's subsequent performance completely disappointed Fu Heihui. Xue Yu surprisingly simply commanded the Jade Dog to attack this quasi-special level curse, just like facing the previous giant curse. This is a quasi-special level spell. How could he possibly defeat this Zund with two weaker Jade Dogs than his own? He really doesn't know where Xue Yu's confidence comes from. As this quasi-special level spell destroyed the building, Xue Yu and his team moved to a more spacious rooftop. Xue Yu, do you know any other shadow spells? Watching the four Jade Dogs being beaten back by this Zund, Fu Heihui's face was also filled with anxiety. If Xue Yu didn't have to play his trump cards yet, they might really die in the hands of this quasi-special level spell. P.S. I beg for the flowers and monthly tickets from all the readers. Thank you all. These data are really important, and your support is the driving force for me to move forward. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. My techniques all rely on learning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Moreover, what made him feel most anxious was that he could feel an incredibly powerful spell hovering around him. Although they were still far away, he could sense that the powerful spell target was also here. He couldn't think of any other purpose to spy on the curses here, except for the fingers of Su Nuo. The quasi-special level spell in front of us is already so powerful, and that even more powerful existence may already have the power of a special level spell. We must fight quickly and make quick decisions. If we don't solve the battle before the arrival of that special level spell, then everything will probably be too late. What's going on with this mission? Teacher Wutiao, should this level of mission be done by a spell master at my level? Fu Heihui said something roast, and then concentrated all her energy on the quasi-super spirit in front of her. On the other side, Xue Yu remained calm and didn't show any signs of anxiety. Faced with Fu Heihui's question, he also responded calmly. I don't know any other shadow spells. Xue Yu's words immediately shattered Fu Heihui's current state. What is your confidence in defeating this spell? Fu Heihui's entire face was covered in black lines. Do I need to defeat this spell? No, I don't need it, do I? If you have confidence, you still have Tiger Wand Yuren. Xue Yu held his hands and sat leisurely on the side. As he said, this quasi-special level spell should not be difficult for Tiger Wand and Fu Hei. After all, the worst-case scenario would also be to use Su Nuo's fingers as a cover. The Tiger Wand was sent to stay in Nuo, and all of this is just a return to the main storyline. I used to make a move myself, it was just an accident. Upon hearing Xue Yu's words, Fu Heihui suddenly couldn't hold her back. Are you and Tiger Wand playing cards? At least I am still a magician, but where is the Tiger Wand? The Tiger Wand is just an ordinary human, how can it be used as a trump card to defeat quasi-special level spells? He just felt that Xue Yu's head was a bit abnormal. Xue Yu, isn't your companion nearby? Hurry up and let her come over. I noticed a special level spell wandering around. Please remind her to avoid encountering danger. Fu Heihui gave a hint to Xue Yu, thinking that if Xue Yu's companions came over, they could not only avoid the danger of encountering a super-level spell, but also assist them in defeating this quasi-special together. Many people have great power, and the three sorcerers working together should not be difficult to solve this quasi-special level spell. Although he hadn't seen the person named Lizi yet, Fu Hei had already identified Lizi as another magician. However, to Fu Heihui's surprise, a playful smile appeared on Xue Yu's face. Lizi. Oh, don't worry about her anymore. And, Fu Hei, what exactly is it that makes you have the illusion that I will definitely help you? Xue Yu's voice was very cold. Fu Heihui's heart thumped for a moment, and her whole body had a slight reaction. Yes, the stranger in front of me appearing here at this moment must have his own purpose. However, before he could even reflect on Xue Yu's position, the anxious voice of Tiger Wand Yuren suddenly came through. If you keep talking, these 4 jade dogs will be killed. Fu Heihui suddenly woke up with a start. He couldn't dwell on Xue Yu's purpose now. If Xue Yu didn't want to take action, then he had to fight hard. In the center of the battlefield, Xue Yu's 2 jade dogs have been injured and left. Fu Heihui's 2 jade dogs were struggling to support the attacks of quasi-special level spells, and their bodies were also covered in scars. I can't do it anymore. A cold light flashed in Fu Heihui's eyes, and then his hands pressed together, creating a bird-like hand figure. He must summon the second Shirshin now. Ah! As the sound of Fu Heihui fell, a huge owl appeared out of nowhere and began to assist the jade dog in its attack. Wow, what a big bird! Yo, this bird is really big. Huzhang Yuren and Xue Yu both sighed at the same time. No matter how strong the player is, the appearance of the screen looks much more impressive. With the appearance of someone, the entire situation seems to have been under control. However, it was still Fu Heihui and her 2 jade dogs who were struggling to support her. After all, is not an attacking style god and can only provide harassment support in the air. There are a total of 5 people on the entire rooftop. Sasaki and Inoue are unconscious, just a burden. Huzhang Yuren hesitated and didn't know how to help Fu Heihui. Xue Yu was leisurely, just observing from the side, without any intention of taking action. So, in the center of the battlefield, only Fu Heihui was left struggling to deal with quasi-special level spells. Xue Yu, won't you help Fu Hei? Seeing Xue Yu in such a state, Huzhang Yuren felt very inappropriate, so he tried to persuade him. Oh. Should I help Fu Heihui? Yuren, are you saying you want to make human death right? Xue Yu's mouth curved slightly upwards. So, dying in the hands of a curse is the correct way for a sorcerer to die. Xue Yu's response left Huzhang Yuren unable to find a reason to refute. He felt that this theory was not valid, but as a first-time user of spells, he was also unfamiliar with the entire world of spells. Seeing Tiger Wand Yuren speechless, Xue Yu smiled and let out a low. Subsequently, his shadow automatically formed a bird-like hand shadow, and the deity was successfully subdued by him. Seeing this scene, Xue Yu nodded thoughtfully. Indeed, as I guessed, without talent, I have 10 qualifications for shadow spells. However, I still need to imitate others in order to master the use of shadow spells. This is a bit awkward. I thought that having 10 types of shadow spells would make me jealous of even the Soan Noa people. Unexpectedly, this spell still has such limitations. Is it necessary to find the corresponding owner of the technique that seems to be the red blood exercise technique and these 6 eyes in one's own body in order to learn the corresponding ability? How troublesome, still, Lizi is the most straightforward. Indeed, pure love for the god of war is the true god. Let's take a look at the current state of the 9-mantra fetus later on. I can always feel them, but I don't know where they are now. It's a bit awkward. To truly master and unleash the power of these three families' ancestral techniques, it may take some time. It seems that in the near future, we will still have to rely on the Guardian Curse Lizzie and the 9-phase diagram curse technique to fight. Xue Yu caressed the summoned Shirshan, thinking a lot in his mind for an instant. The creature he summoned is still one circle smaller than the creature summoned by Fu Heihui. However, this way it looks even cuter, and when rolled up, it looks more like a pet. P.S. I beg for the flowers and monthly tickets from all the readers. Thank you all. These data are really important, and your support is the driving force for me to move forward. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.